Welcome to the Kairotic Show. I'm your host, Yvette, and today we will be discussing Disney's latest firing of James Gunn. Our special guests include Randu and Adriana. Now let's bring out our guests. How are you guys today?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to be on your show.
Always a pleasure to talk to you both. Now, I invited you both here because we are going to discuss what I would say would be the biggest comic book news of all time, the James Gunn controversy. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I have.
Afraid not. I haven't heard about this. Who's James Gunn?
Alright. Well, he is known for directing two smashing successful Marvel movies, The Guardians of the Galaxy and its sequel. These are some of my favorite comic book movies.
For those of you who do not know the controversy surrounding him, this is a very complex situation where politics are very much in the mix. Gunn was working on the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy script when Disney severed ties with him, when decade-year-old tweets surfaced about pedophilia and other questionable topics.
Well, Marvel fans will sure be disappointed.
I'm terribly disappointed. The series just took a huge toll.
So, how did the tweet surface?
The tweet surfaced from a repugnant source, revenge being the motive. James Gunn had an aggressive nature when it comes to speaking out against conservatives. The individuals responsible for their upbringing were Jack Posobiec and pundit Mike Cernovich. They are famously known for orchestrating the scandals of Pizzagate and the Seth Rich fantasies.
The pundits were able to draw some connection with an individual who was investigated and possibly convicted for child pornography, in my opinion, leaving Disney no choice on the matter.
To my amazement, no major trade was willing to cover this story. The only reason I found out was through the media outlet of YouTube. No articles on the story, no tweets from them, no journalist at all wanted to touch this subject.
The story did not gain any momentum. Typically, how the situations are handled, the story breaks, everyone ignores it, then starts trending, receiving backlash. Disney can't ignore it. Then Gunn gets fired. The middleman was cut out in this equation. The press was not really part of it.
I would think that Disney should have at least allowed James to step down, enabling the story to be kept under wraps, but instead Disney outrightly severed all ties with him.
For Disney to outrightly fire Gunn is a bold statement on their behalf, as James Gunn was just not any ordinary director. He was an integral part of the MCU. Kevin Feige has stated that this was a man who would take reign after the Russo brothers. Makes you wonder if there was other factors at play.
So why did it not gain any momentum?
The press did not want to touch the story because it was a result from an ultra-conservative pundits. Makes you wonder as why almost no major trade was willing to put their brand on the story.
How did James react on the matter? Were the tweets that bad?
Well, it was enough to cause a response from Gunn, as it warranted a lengthy apology and the deletion of more than 10,000 tweets.
I mean, they were pretty questionable tweets. Let me pull them up. Some of his tweets stated, "I like it when little boys touch me in silly places," and "I'm doing a big Hollywood film adaptation on The Giving Tree with a happy ending. The tree grows back and gives a kid a blowjob," amongst other about rape and 9/11.
These tweets are offensive and downright just wrong. There's no defense against this. No way to even twist the version of the story.
Super, an individual known to be aggressive with his comedic response, an individual who he himself has stated that he wanted to push boundaries, be a provocateur.
Still does not excuse him for the outrageous, appalling tweets.
I'm not saying it does, but I mean everyone deserves a second chance, a shot at redemption. Like he stated in his Twitter, as I've discussed publicly many times, and as I develop as a person, so has my work and my humor. In an official statement from ABC, he said, "My words of nearly a decade ago were at the time totally failed and unfortunate efforts to be provocative." He wrote, "I have regretted them for many years since, not just because they were stupid, not at all funny, wildly insensitive, and certainly not provocative like I had hoped, but also because they don't reflect the person I am today or have been for some time. Regardless of how much time has passed, I understand and accept the business decision taken today. All I can do now, beyond offering my sincere and heartfelt regret, is to be the best human being I can be, accepting, understanding, committed to equality, and far more thoughtful about my public statements and my obligations to our public discourse. To everyone inside my industry and beyond, I again offer my deepest apologies. Love to all."
This is perhaps one of the most sincere apologies I have heard, at least, in my opinion, from a famous individual. It makes you feel bad. It makes you almost want to believe the guy.
Wow, this is a difficult one. Would you want to be held accountable for a belief or something you said 10 years ago? I believe there is a broader question at hand. Should past actions dictate your future, and can individuals really change?
I honestly do believe it, not by a biased perspective, but I genuinely believe individuals can redeem themselves. He has matured as well as his work. His hard work created two massive box office hits, but has influenced the MCU throughout, such as Taika Waititi's take on Thor Ragnarok. Undoubtedly, he had the support of many fans and cast. Did you guys see the full support he had?
No, this should be interesting.
Can you explain?
The cast of Guardians petitioned to Disney via Twitter with an open letter to reinstate Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's long, but let me point out the key elements. They wanted not to defend his jokes, but rather share their experience with the man. They drew a comparison to James through the theme of Guardians of the Galaxy, in which a band of misfits get redemption. They say that they hope to work with their friend again. They say he will likely not be the only good person placed in dual process due to the division between the political parties. They end with an, I quote, "The enormous responsibilities we have to ourselves and to each other regarding the use of our written words when we etch them into the digital stone."
Strong words from the cast. Your move, Disney.
Dave Bautista, who plays Drax the Destroyer, stated, "At James Gunn is one of the most loving, caring, and good-natured people I have ever met. He's gentle and kind and cares deeply for people and animals. He made a mistake. We all have. I'm not okay with what's happening to him," he wrote. He so far has even threatened to sever ties with the studio if they did not use Gunn's script.
They better be careful. If the cast keeps it up, they could not only cost them their jobs and the Guardians as a whole, but they could get mixed in the political and ethical dilemma with the media, which could potentially damage their careers moving forward.
It's a heartfelt defense for their friend, but the implications could be huge if they are not careful on how they handle the matter.
This is such a relatable topic to such a number of people. That being said, I believe people are too close to this situation to look at it from a realistic viewpoint.
I mean, I agree, this is never going to change Disney's mind, as they would never in their right mind hire an individual who said a number of pedophilia jokes. Disney's as much at fault as Gunn.
How so?
Well, Disney should have known who they were getting into bed with when they hired him, and in this instance, unfortunately, they came up with fleas.
It's not like these comments were not public. They had been there for years.
I mean, Gunn was living on borrowed time. He had to know this.
Well, defending Disney, I think they didn't realize that there was pedophilia jokes mixed in there. Disney excused themselves as they said no one had noticed this. It's small.
He was really committed to this persona. For this mouse house, this would be a PR disaster, especially for a company whose brand is focused on family-friendly entertainment.
Did Disney or Marvel release a statement on the issue?
Disney's Alan Horn, who is the head of the movie entertainment industry, came out and released a statement.
Let me look it up.
I found it. It says right here. Horn stated, "The offensive attitude and statements on James's Twitter feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio's values, and we have severed our business relationship with him."
Okay, so what? The question is, should Gunn be forgiven?
Yes, absolutely. To have to face consequences of what things you said years ago is ludicrous. You are not the person you were 5 years ago. I know in my younger years I have said some statements that were immature, and I for certain am not that person anymore.
The fact of the matter is, not everyone will have the same opinion.
Well, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I mean, this gives an excellent reminder to all. Careful what you say. More specifically in this scenario, what you tweet and to one's judgment. I believe there are darker presence at play here.
Yes, I agree, especially when other people can use your own content against you.
Now that I think of it, the pundits demanded an eye for an eye after the Roseanne situation, in which Disney had the need to fire both conservatives and liberals alike. In Roseanne's case, she was fired for racist tweets. Not only that, Disney makes a lot of money off conservative lists. Disney just does not want to get in a political dogfight. Gunn probably would not have been fired if he had better judgment, not only with his aggressive jokes, but his aggressive behavior on the political front.
Yeah, the president of Disney, Bob Iger, and Kevin Feige have both stayed silent on the matter, as they don't want to upset any party.
It's important to watch what you say as well. Both tweets were repugnant, but ultimately what got him fired was politics. A lot of people are arguing that Gunn has changed, and in my opinion, he really has. But Roseanne is arguing that she was misunderstood as well. Since they both work for Disney, a company has to have a rule that applies to both sides of a party, leaving Disney no choice. They cannot be seen having favoritism for one side of the political party.
This is true. Disney is a company that delivers content to a variety of different demographics. Showing favoritism would take a toll on their finances as well as their reputation. It doesn't matter. You cannot come back from pedophilia, and you cannot come back from racism.
Through this conversation, it came to my rash conclusion that this controversy has been happening all over Hollywood. Makes you wonder, like Randu said, if there is more of a dark presence here at play. Did the timing cause the demise of Gunn?
Now this is getting interesting. Now you mention it, let's dissect this juicy topic.
I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about Kevin Hart having put out some controversial tweets before.
Of course, I've heard of this. Kevin Hart is known for his comedy. It's not surprising that he's put out controversial content before. He even stepped down from hosting the 2019 Oscars because of it.
His tweets were apparently homophobic, in which people took to be offensive. Many fans demanded that he apologize. Hart stated that he addressed the controversial statements already. Now, this issue was brought up again when it was announced that he would be up to host the Oscars.
This adds to the fact that if you're in the spotlight, you will be looked at severely, and your background will come up. This is just what happened with James Gunn. As we've all mentioned before, this seems to be a trend going around Hollywood. The trend being stars put in hot water for content that they put out in their past. What else happened with Kevin Hart?
Now, he did have a few skits with jokes that were also supposedly homophobic, and did come out to say that he would not tell those same jokes today, but his reasoning for it was how sensitive the public is today. At first, he stood his ground and he said he would not apologize for something that wasn't meant to be offensive.
Yeah, but people were still offended by what he tweeted in the past, regardless of his refusal to apologize. And for that reason, he decided to step down from hosting the Oscars. Let's take a look at the statement he issued regarding everything that took place. It says, I have made the choice to step down from hosting this year's Oscars. This is because I do not want to be a distraction on a night that should be celebrated by so many amazing, talented artists. He said, I sincerely apologize to the LGBTQ community for my insensitive words from my past.
Now that I think about it, a lot of these problems surface with the way politics are going today. At the time that both Gunn and Hart tweeted these offensive tweets, they were meant to be comical. But now individuals twist what they say and make it political.
Yeah, maybe they were comical, but in today's context, those things aren't appropriate to joke about because of the possible repercussions, like losing their gigs.
At least the Oscars gave him a chance at redemption. They didn't even allow James Gunn to step down.
Okay, so just to sum it up for our listeners real quick, our point of today's discussion has been James Gunn and how he was fired for Disney for inappropriate tweets from his past. Going hand in hand with this topic, we asked you, the listener, a broader question of whether people should be accountable for things they have said in their past.
And with that, it's important to take into account the timing of this situation. The timing and opportunity is what drives companies like Disney to act very harshly when scandals like this come up. In today's politically charged and no-tolerance atmosphere, that is what gives way for this trend.
Yeah, timing is definitely the key for scandals like this to take place. For the conservatives who brought up Gunn's tweets, it was a perfect opportunity and timing to make him look bad.
Continuing with this perfect timing, it's worth noting that this continues to happen to people when they're gaining the most success from their careers.
That's absolutely true. It's almost like the perfect storm is brewing, and the people in Hollywood industry need to be more careful. They need to be careful and sure of their content from their past.
Definitely, no one's safe.
Wow, even I'm a little scared now. Anyways, that's all we have for today. Be sure to tune in for next episode of the Kairotic Show. A big thanks again to our guests, Adriana and Randu, for their time and thoughts on this crazy news.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me. Once again, I'm the best.